I'm estranged from my entire family, and some people say that since I'm the common denominator, that I must be the problem. But is that really the truth? In this video, I'm going to define what I mean by family narrative and family scapegoat and give examples. I'm also going to tell you why I know it's not just me, and I will follow up with how all this makes me feel. I want to add that sometimes I need to look at my notes. I'm still trying to get comfortable with talking to the camera, and I don't want to leave anything out. I am not a professional in any way. I'm just sharing my experiences and perspective. I hope to help others in similar situations feel less alone and maybe open the eyes of people who too quickly blame the one who's estranged. I have talked about a family narrative in my videos before, and somebody asked me to explain what I meant by that. A family narrative is basically a story a family tells about its members, who's good, who's bad, who gets blamed, and over time everyone starts to accept it, even if it's not true. Every family has one, and some are harmless, like grandma always makes the best cookies, and others can be toxic, and sadly, that's how mine was. In my family, this narrative went way back, even to my mom's childhood. In her family, the boys were good, while the girls were treated as second-class citizens. I, as a girl, was treated as less than my brothers. In one example that I shared in a recent video, my brothers got bicycles while I got a mattress. And over the years, the story about me being the bad one developed through many small and large moments. I overheard my mom telling her mom that I was a horrible child, but the truth was I was very respectable and I always followed the rules. Even my brothers picked up on this and as adults treated me as less than. And then later on, after I got married and had children, my mom aligned herself with my husband in ways that made me feel blamed for things that weren't true. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I wanted to give some context to how this narrative shaped the way everybody treated me. I was treated as less than and not worthy of love. I was labeled bad, ungrateful, unhelpful, selfish, and much more. That's the narrative that was placed upon me. I am not playing the victim. I just wanted to give context for why this narrative exists and how it affected me so that others can see this pattern too and maybe understand it a little bit better. So that's the family narrative, the story everyone in my family came to believe about me. And within that story, there's always a person it points to as being the problem. That's called the family scapegoat. The scapegoat is the one that gets singled out and blamed for the family's problems, often unfairly. That became my role. I was blamed, silenced, and labeled the bad one, even when the issues weren't mine. I was automatically blamed for things I never did, and I wasn't believed. If I tried to express my feelings, I was slapped or disrespected. And if I persisted, I was labeled emotional or sensitive. Even small mistakes or conflicts were used to prove that I was the bad one. Scapegoating. It's easier for people to blame one person than to examine the family dynamics, which could be the real common denominator. They would rather oust and silence one person than work towards a resolution. I have done a lot of reflecting upon this notion that it must be me since I'm the common denominator, but there are several reasons I know that this just isn't true. Technically, I'm the common denominator. but that can be viewed in ways that you don't think. For instance, as far as I know, I'm the only liberal in my family. I'm also the only gay person in my family. Those two things alone set me apart, and while they are not the whole picture, they have definitely enhanced this narrative of me being the bad one. Another reason I know that it's not just me is because of my experiences outside family. For example, my wife's family doesn't view me the same way. They say I'm good with their child, whom I consider my granddaughter, and tell me she loves me very much. They listen to me. They don't judge me. They accept me for who I am. That shows me clearly that this isn't just a reflection of who I really am. Also, I have over 1,000 subscribers here who are following me now and support my videos. I'm assuming they like me, which is another reminder that I can't be all that bad. So there are people outside my family who see me as a good person, even if my family refuses. Another reason I know it's not just me is that family members who barely know me have joined in with this toxic narrative about me. For example, one adult niece came onto my private Facebook page and said, quote, "You are an embarrassment to our family." And I barely know her, and I've only met her a couple times as a child. She's not the only one. There was even a boyfriend of a family member, somebody I never met, who sent me a message one day saying, quote, "I know people like you," unquote. So where is this coming from? It's a family narrative about me. There's also a lot of hypocrisy in my family. I'm deemed bad because I'm supposedly not present enough in their life. Yet none of them have really been interested and present in my life either. And what about the fact that I'm the only one in my family willing to sit down for a respectful conversation, to listen, to care, to try to mend things, to compromise and take accountability? And if you look at it that way, then yes, I'm technically the problem because I'm the only one expecting that. Everyone else just wants to silence me. They tell me to shut up. They disrespect me. They call me childish, toxic, delusional, ridiculous, and say things like, "I hope you are working on yourself." Meanwhile, I have, and I continue to do just that. But do any of them? Some people say I'm the common denominator and must be the bad one because I'm estranged from all three of my adult daughters. They say I must have been a bad mom and that I should know better as the matriarch of the family. But that doesn't explain why I'm estranged from the rest of the family too, including friends of the family who don't even know me. By that logic, I must have been a bad daughter, a bad sister, a bad aunt, and just a bad person overall. It's ridiculous. I feel that the real common denominator isn't me. It's my family's rudeness, ignorance, and unwillingness to see the bigger picture. Being called the bad one hurts deeply. My family uses the fact that I'm the common denominator as proof that I must be the problem, when in reality, it just adds to their long-standing dislike of me. And then strangers see it from the outside and jump to conclusions too. On the surface, it looks like I must be the problem, but they never stop to consider the bigger picture of family dynamics. I take full accountability for my part in our family narrative. I own the mistakes that I've made along the way. I'm not perfect and I've never claimed to be, but I am a good person, authentic, caring, and always doing my best. I work on myself and strive to improve every single day. That being said, the emotional impact of this estrangement has been difficult. It's caused a lot of self-doubt and second guessing. Honestly, I still struggle with it. Internally, I know I'm a good person, but sometimes this little voice creeps in and says, "What the F is wrong with you? You must be a bad, flawed person." Honestly, it's exhausting. It's even harder when people say I'm the problem just because my family doesn't like me. It's very painful. Sometimes it even feels like my family enjoys inflicting that kind of pain. I consider it bullying behavior. Sharing this is hard for me because I'm sitting here acting strong, but I want anybody sitting here listening who's going through something similar to know that we are good people and we don't deserve this. Because of all this second guessing, I've often felt the need for validation. This is one day I hope I can help others by offering support and validation to one another. There's a lot of shame that surrounds family estrangement, but we shouldn't feel ashamed. The only shame comes from how our adult children and other family members treat us. They are the ones who are being shameful. Finally, there's some anger too. My authenticity, the very things who make me who I am, has been treated as a flaw by my family, and that hurts. And it's still something I continue to process. Yes, I am the common denominator, but that doesn't mean I'm the problem. It means I'm refusing to play a toxic family role anymore. When one person is labeled as the bad common denominator, it deflects responsibility from the rest of the family. It makes it seem like it's all your fault. So, if you've been blamed or scapegoated, please know that you aren't alone. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments if you could relate. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.